power of 1 divided by 3, okay, which gives us a value of 793 euros and 70 cent. So you can see that depending on which way we partition or apportion the values, you know, if we use the arithmetic mean, well then everybody, the 3 time intervals get 833 euros. If we use the geometric mean way of portioning out things, it will be 793 euros. Okay, so we can actually see that in this case here that an important point here is this, is that the arithmetic mean, maybe I'll write this down, is that the geometric mean, x bar of g, seems to be always less than, it's always going to be less than or equal to x bar of a, of the arithmetic mean. Keep that in mind, that's an important point here. Okay. Now, so this was actually straightforward to do. It's straightforward to calculate the arithmetic mean and the geometric mean. They're just different ways of calculating mean values. One is the summation of items, and the other is the product of items. Yeah, okay. When we do the arithmetic mean, it's the summation of items divided by how many items we summed. When we do the geometric mean, it's the product of all the items raised to the power of the nth root of how many items that we calculate the product of. But let's say we look at something else. Let's say we look at this particular example here, okay, and let's say we look at the return, okay, the return that was achieved over these particular 2 time periods, okay. Don't forget, maybe what I'll do is I'll just fold this over here, okay. So what we'll do is just fold this over. We're just looking at the return. Don't forget, if you want to calculate the return, the rate of return, okay, the return at any moment in time is equal to today minus yesterday, okay, relative to yesterday. Let's keep that in mind. That's a nice way to actually think about what's happening. So how much change has happened? Yeah, okay, we've bought the investment. We paid €1,000 at time 0. After a year, it's dropped down to 500. What has the change been? What has been the return from time 0 to time 1? Okay, what's the return? Well, let's call this R1. Okay, R1 is equal to today's price, which is 500, minus yesterday's, which is 1,000, divided by yesterday's, which is 1,000, which gives us a value of, this is minus 500 over 1,000, okay, which is going to be equal to minus, well, it's minus 0.5, isn't that right? So it's 500 divided by 1,000. You can see it's equal to minus 0.5. In other words, there was a 50%, so this is minus 0.5. There was a 50% decrease, yeah, with respect to time 0 to time 1, okay? 50% decrease. What about the second period? So that was the first one done, R1, the change. What about between R1 and R2? Okay, let's say R1 and 2. What's the change be? What's the return here? So let's call this R2. Well, today's price, which is 1,000, minus yesterday, which is 500, divided by yesterday, which is 500. What does that give us? Well, that gives us 500. Okay, divided by 500, which gives us, it's a plus 1, it's 1.0. Okay, there's a 100% increase from time 1 to time 2, so this is 1.0. Okay, right, so now we have the returns. So now let's calculate the arithmetic mean. So let's calculate the arithmetic mean. Okay, now the important thing to think about here is this, is let's calculate the arithmetic mean and let's calculate the geometric mean. Okay, now, well, let's actually just calculate the arithmetic mean first of all. So you can see the arithmetic mean with respect to the returns is going to be minus 0.5 plus 1 all over 2, okay, which gives us a value of, that's minus, that's going to be 0.5, okay, minus 0.5 plus 1 gives us 0.5 over 2, which is going to give us a value of 0.25. Okay. What that tells us here is that on average the return was 25%. Okay, that's telling us that on average the return was 25%. Okay, across these particular these two periods. Yeah. Okay. Now what we can actually see is this, is that actually across these 2 periods, okay, we went from €1,000 down to 500 and back up to 1,000. Actually, there was no gain. across the two periods, we've actually ended up back where we started, yeah? So actually, the return, what should be recorded here is that the rate of return for this particular investment across the 2-year period, yeah, is actually 0, okay? So how the hell are we going to do that, okay? So what we actually need to calculate is, instead of calculating the arithmetic mean, okay, we're going to calculate the geometric mean, but we're actually going to make a modification. It's going to be called